Hi, everyone, and welcome to Spotlight Tuesday. Now, I'm sorry, I look as if I'm sitting in the dark still, and I've tried to put all sorts of lights round about me. But anyway, we have the lovely Caroline Partridge, my VA, on tonight, and we're going to be talking about her work as a VA, but also a bit about her own background as a healer and a spiritual teacher, and why she is combining her VA work at the moment. So Caroline, it's lovely to have you on. Now, in many ways, Caroline is not just my VA. She has been almost like my right-hand woman recently, been great support to me. And it's great to have that support because when we are solopreneurs, we can have lots of different challenges and we also have different strengths and weaknesses. And sometimes we need, maybe just a little bit extra support, but also sometimes just someone to say, look, what do you think of this? Oh, guess what happened? So sometimes that can make such a big difference, and especially when it's someone that you trust and you feel aligned with. So Caroline, I'd love you to start telling everyone how you started to get into this work. And and what you feel is your biggest strengths, and I will be adding some things in. Okay.
So thanks for having me here, Rylan. It's lovely to have this opportunity to have a chat with you and to share. So where do I start really? So in terms of admin work and PA work and that kind of thing, it started years and years ago. So that was kind of my background for 26 years, working in the fashion industry, working in financials, and kind of building that up over the years and gaining that experience. And predominantly when lockdown hit, it was, everything stopped, didn't it? And my kind of daytime work, because I always did my healing work at weekends or evenings, so my daytime work, which was, my admin office work, just came to a standstill. And I kind of had a few months where I was furloughed, and I had to kind of think, well, what's next really? What am I going to do next in my life? How am I going to move forward? And I just thought, well, I've got the opportunity to work from home. I've got my laptop, so I'm online, and I've got community. I'm on Facebook. I know lots of people. I've got the skills. Let's just put it out there. So I think it was September 2020, August 2020, something like that. I just put, something on my profile, set up a little page. And I got a couple of inquiries immediately and started working with a meditation coach. And then another lady who kind of worked in the similar sort of field who I worked with for a long time. And it started from there really. So just kind of working differently, because obviously I was used to the corporate side, institutions and doing things a different way. And I'd not really worked with entrepreneurs. So that was a new experience. But obviously coming from the spiritual background, it was great because I knew where people were coming from. I understood the background, and I could relate to it, and I was passionate about it as well. Some of the jobs I'd done beforehand, I loved working in fashion when I was younger. It was great fun. But some of the jobs I used to think, oh, I don't believe in the ethos of this company. I'm not really feeling it. And I would I'd be great at my job, but I just didn't have that alignment. So it's nice to work in a field where I've got that background and that alignment, and I can see other people doing these things, and I want to be able to help them because it's exciting and they're doing something positive. They're making changes in the world, and I think that's an amazing thing. So that's where it started really.
I think too, the fact that you're saying that's so refreshing that when you've got someone on board that has that energy, because I think it's so important, particularly in our work, because it's all about being really spiritually and energetically aligned.
Yeah.
And it's so important that when you hire someone that they are on the same page. And that was the biggest thing that I have to say to all you with Caroline's been very refreshing. I've had a lot of VAs and people that have done work, and some of them very nice, but sometimes just didn't understand what I was doing. They didn't have, it wasn't just some of them were spiritual, but for me, they weren't consciously aware enough. So sometimes they didn't understand why I said things a certain way or did things a certain way. Where Caroline just laps it up and she's very excited about it and very fully supportive, which makes a huge difference. And also one of the things that I wanted to add, sometimes when you're running a business, and I was just saying to Caroline before we come on, a lot of people have known me a long time in business, kind of always say to me, I'm amazed, Eileen, how much content and programs and things that you put out. And they see maybe what they see, what appears to maybe not the glamorous side, but the polished side of things. And I do have lots of challenges. I have disabilities and I have other things that I'm really not good at. And Caroline has seen that messy side of me, that side of me that is really gets kind of, sometimes I have blocks about things, simple things like diaries, emails, simple things that actually many of you would be really good at. So we all have our strengths and our weaknesses. And Caroline, sometimes I have her all over the place, but she's she's got a very gentle and a calm energy, which makes a big difference. But one of the things she's absolutely great is proofreading and grammar, because I have to say that's not my strength. So Caroline is really good at that. And I don't know how many books that she's proofread for me. In fact, a couple of them I've not actually went back and sorted them yet, but she's done so much work. So she's got so many assets. And I think one of the things that a lot of holistic and spiritual businesses have a challenge with, they often, it's not, they have lots of kind of maybe beliefs and other things about hiring, and they think, oh, it's just about money and that's another, money out. But one of the things is in business, to really grow a healthy business, it's important to get people with the right skill set. And it's important that we don't try and do everything, because we can't be experts in everything. And I've always tried to, when I possibly could, get people, if it wasn't that I was learning from them, I was hiring them in to do certain things. And I also believe it's not just about getting the skill set, it's also an exchange thing, because if we can give people their work, it's like the energy comes back and forward, because the whole point of building a business is so that you are thriving more, and when you thrive you can start supporting others. And we all can do things bigger and better, and we can raise the vibration when we work together. And I think that's what it's about, valuing other people's skills and really honouring other people's skills. I don't know if that's how you feel, Caroline.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, for you, I mean, you have produced lots of work. There's no two ways about it, as in, like, you've got so much content, it is coming out of
Yeah.
your ears, and it's amazing. And you shouldn't downplay
Yeah.
that. That's a big thing, especially when you say you've got these challenges. I think it's amazing the way you'll say, oh, I've turned this around, and I think, wow. But you're very honest in that you'll say, well, I know it needs some tweaking with the grammar, I know it needs some rewording, and I can kind of dive in there, and 9 times out of 10 I'm getting what you're saying. I mean, we can't always, because sometimes that's just life. But I know we've got that relationship where I can say, I think having that relationship where you can really talk to someone and relay things to them, and I can just come back and say, look, I think this is what you mean, and I know it's never taken in the wrong way. We can talk quite openly, again, that's really refreshing. We kind of know what our skills are and how we work and blend that together, and I think that's really important. Being a VA is very different to, when I've been a PA, you're very much, although I was very proactive and I used to get very involved in things, quite often, probably 50-50, you'd be given a pile of work and expected to do it. And yes, you give me tasks to do, but we kind of work more in tandem, and I like that as a VA. I find that I'm working more in tandem with people, and it's a real partnership, and it's different way of working, and I really like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's definitely, it's a even though I know it is like more a personal way that you're interacting more, particularly being a small business, I think, because you then have more an input
Yeah.
in a different sort of way, isn't it, than
Yeah.
like a P? And I think that's and so why don't you share with the group the type of kind of things that you do for me and you do for you know, you've done for other people and do for other people,
Yeah.
so that anyone in the group that would like to, you know, consider hiring you know, for your skills, they can get a feel for what kind of things that you do, Caroline.
Yeah, so for me, I would say, you know, I was good at English at school. It was one of my, you know, main things that I thrived on. So I've always found this in my work. I'm good at looking at the way something's written and you know, rewording that, making it flow a bit better. So I do proofreading for you, and we'll do some editing with documents and even emails and things. Sometimes I'll pick things out and say to you, "Oh, sorry, posts."
Yep.
Post shares for you on social media. I've been doing that for you. I like the liaison side, so I've obviously been helping you build up these interviews for the Spiritual Spotlight, and I've got to
Yep.
know some of
Yep.
the group, which is lovely. Personally, um,
Yep.
and you know, managing the diary and all the liaison between that with the wording and the visuals, etc. Yeah, and then we bounce business ideas. So we talk about the way you want to evolve things, whether it's the right
Yep.
time.
Yep.
We
Yep.
talk about the ins and outs of doing something now, sharing in other groups. So we're always looking for other spaces where we can get you, you know, get to your audience.
Yep.
Um,
That's correct.
and
Yep.
looking at that, and building your connections. So I think they're the key things really. So you know, and that's embroiled in everything I do really. And we've built that up as well. Now you've taught me some things technically on Social B, which I'm still trying to get my head around. I'm never going to be quite as good as you, Eileen.
I don't know about that, Caroline.
But you know, getting to know these platforms and use Zenler as well, and seeing how that works, and how it
Yep.
works for you, and how you put your courses on there and all of your content. So you know, we've only been working together for 6 months, so it's not actually a long period of time.
I
um
know. It doesn't seem like that, doesn't it? That, but it's still, but I have the connection and the confidence. I feel you would think it was a longer time because there's, I mean, I think too as well, when you get a sense of trust with someone, you can come on and you can also be very honest about things.
Yes.
And one of the things that me and Caroline talk about, even as the spiritual things, what's going on in the energy, you know,
Yes.
and I think in our industry, and particularly with what's going on with humanity at the moment, when we are, you know, you're aware of certain things, it's nice to be able to have someone that you can just say, oh my, how's your energy today? What's going on with you today, kind of thing. You
Yeah,
know?
and we're very aware of what's going on, like you say, in terms of that sensitivity, because we're both empathic. So
Yeah.
that's, you know, if if I'd gone in and said that, well, I used to, some of my bosses, I'd leave my crystals around my desk and all sorts, and they probably thought I was bonkers, but I didn't really care. But you know, having that's nice because you've got that relationship. You know, when you know, I think it's a few weeks ago, you felt like you needed some time out, and you needed that
Yeah.
space. So you know, I kept things ticking along. I wasn't obviously in the group as much as you were, but
Exactly.
it's nice to know
That's
you've got
that
another
was a
person.
really important thing. And that's the
Mm,
great thing, because I had some sort of virus or something, wasn't sure, and I really was struggling, and I had also a couple of bereavements. And I knew I could just leave Caroline with so many things that she could, which that's the whole point of also hiring a VA, because you're taking the pressure off certain things. And one of the things that I talk about a lot in a spiritual business is it's so important to try and have some passive income streams. And we were just talking about that as well, and
mm,
different income streams.
yeah.
And you want to be able to step back and have other things that are working for you. But it makes such a big difference if you have someone else on your team that can take over. And sometimes when we're not well, we're not fit to even go and message everybody and sort that out. So to have that makes a huge difference. And it does take a lot of pressure, because I have, you know, there's might be people in the group that don't know, but I have like kind of more than two sides to my business, to be quite honest. And sometimes there's a bit of juggling going on. I like juggling, but sometimes then when you're not well, and that's another reason why I do try and hire in people, because I know you can't do everything. And also, it's much wiser to hire in the people that are really good at something, to give you the energy and the stamina and to be able to do the stuff that you're brilliant at doing. That's the whole point of a business. And I think I come from a family business background, and I was surrounded by business books. I have to be honest, did I enjoy all the business books? Not really. I was more into like personal development, and then I went down, that was very young, and then in spirituality. But coming from a business background and being surrounded with a high majority of my family that are in business, they have a lot of understanding of business. And it's like, the easiest way to explain it is, a business is like a pie chart, and you have your skills that you come in. If you're a service related business like a healer or a coach, and even if you create programs, if you've still come in with a certain skill set, that's only one part of the pie chart in your business. To grow your business, to be successful, it needs all these other elements. And one of the things that I've noticed, in so many healers and coaches that I've worked with over the last 22 years, is that most people focus so much on their training and their tools for the healing and all that. And they almost think that just because if they show up and are doing that, the clients should just come running to them. And they don't realize that a business has different elements, particularly if you want it to be successful. And I think that's where, getting the other skill set. And it's like if you were running a restaurant, you wouldn't just be one person. You get the best chef, you get the best admin, the receptionist, right? Because you can't do it all. You can't possibly do it all, right? And of course, sometimes we start a business. I started my business with almost hardly any assets. I had been really ill for 7 years and had the lowest form of income. I didn't even get proper sickness benefit. And I know how hard it is. But when you can, it's, hiring the right help, because it actually makes you money if you do it the right way. And it can really help the value of your business, because one of the things that you can get stuck in, for example, if I'm not very good at my grammar and I'm trying to put an ebook out and the quality's not, now I can make things look polished because I'm very good at the techie and the graphics and things, right? But if there's certain things not up to scratch, that can really devalue. So, so it's about where you're placing your business. And if you're trying, a lot of people are trying to raise the value of their business up I'm not saying a better clientele, but a clientele will invest more. When you start going up, you have to have quality. You have to match that in your business, and you have to show that you care. So, I think that's important. What would you say, Caroline? Anything that you want to add?
I'd agree, and also I've got my own spiritual business, as you know, and I think you're really right when you talk about, we do all this training, we take these courses, we invest the time and energy, and you put yourself out there, and it's like because there's so much more to it. It's more complex. No one teaches you how to run the business side. Very few people do anyway. They might do touch on marketing, but there's many aspects to it. And I think obviously I can do my own VA work at the moment, but I suppose if there came a time where I was so busy and I needed support, I wouldn't hesitate to get help, with organizing myself, because I know how valuable that is, coming from that background, seeing it from that perspective. But I can also see it from a business owner's perspective as well, from being in that position. So you do need all hands on deck, and you do need, like you say, all the ingredients to make it work, really.
Definitely. And I think I did do a post the other day. I don't think you should ever just hand everything over. I don't think that's a good idea either, because I've seen a lot where people, it's been a complete disaster when people, because they don't like, for example, marketing or certain things, they just say, right, you do that, where they're not putting an input in it, and they're leaving it up to someone that often doesn't really understand what they stand for, the business. And, you know, I don't agree with that either. I think that can get you into a lot of problems. You have to remember that it's an integral part of you, and you can't just hand over any part of your business and just completely without no input, particularly at the beginning, until you know the person. And a lot of times that can be a kind of cop out, like, I don't want to do that, so someone else. But then if it doesn't work and your business doesn't work, you blame someone else. And I see this sometimes with social media managers. I'm not saying that, yeah, sometimes they're not doing what they're supposed to do, but it can be easy then to blame someone else. It's because some aspect of your business or your marketing or the way that you're showing up or you're not showing up is not working. And a business is like anything. It's, if you think about a lot of the tools and methods that you learn, most tools and techniques can take a while to master and learn. It depends on what it is, right? And it's a combination of things. Sometimes some people are more skilled at it, and you can go and do training, and you can go and some things you can train in, and you're not that so great at. I've trained some things and I wasn't that great at. I remember getting a certificate, it was certificate, like an advanced certificate for a false nail course. I was the most awful nail technician. Can honestly say it was awful. Right? I mean, my nails looked like,
yeah,
it was like something like, I don't know, a wee monster would wear. But anyway, and I remember from the college getting this certificate, and I got advanced, and I thought, what was that teacher thinking? Now I really think she got it because I'm someone that doesn't give up.
no, we know that.
But I did think that's not fair, because someone in that class would have been really good at that. So sometimes we can do things and we train in it. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're actually great at it.
No,
You know, it doesn't. But there's
experience.
also things that we can be great at and we've not trained in.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So there's a whole combination of things here. And I think we've got to remember that we are all here, and this is an important thing that I think people have to understand, because this has come up just the last few days in a variety of subjects, where people almost think just because they are really gifted in a particular area and they turn up in their business, and if they're not getting clients right away, okay, that's it, I'm not supposed to be doing this, right? Or you may have the opposite. Yeah, you may have done everything and you're not, and maybe there's divine timing and something else going on, guiding you somewhere else that's even more, is going to take you really into another step as one of genius. But I do get a lot of people who, it's just they do not have what we've talked about, Caroline. It's different skills, and they're not looking at their business objectively, or they just think that it's a magic pill. And it's like you'll be naturally good at English, but there's skills that you've evolved and brought into the table to help me that have been years of experience. Would you not agree? It's things that, so we bring in, we forget that what happens is we're bringing in a lot of skills. And I meet people who just say to me, but how can I just get clients? It's almost like you could just say to them, well, you just do, and do.
Yeah. There's no
Right.
Yeah. It really is. I think it's about energy. I think it's about sometimes the right time, like you've said. We have periods where we evolve and we change. And I think sometimes we're changing the way we work and our vibration. And so then, what we're putting out isn't quite aligned. So we have that period of adjustment. So we may lose clients.
Definitely.
Clients will grow and move onwards, and that's just life. It's like anything, isn't it? We have relationships that may come and go. It's like the
Exactly
wave of life. So I think it is hard when you're coming. I know how it feels. I mean, I've had periods when I did mine very much, my healing very much at a weekend. I didn't need the money, but quite often I was burnt out because I was doing quite a demanding 5-day a week job. And then even having 2 Reiki clients at a weekend. I was mobile, so I traveled to the client, I'd set up, I'd treat the client, and it could be 4 or 5 hours of my Saturday gone, you know. And I enjoyed it, but I did find it quite tough. But having to flip it around now, and it's, well, not having, but having this call and this drive that I want that business. But you've got to look at it from a different perspective. Like you said, it's kind of growing and evolving and changing, and it's just, you know, you have to see it in a different light, you know, and you have to you know, I certainly don't, I will hold my hands out and try anything. So I've done, you know, several different jobs to support myself, and several different streams of income. And I think lots of people are doing that now. You know, lots of people are finding they need to have those swerves of things. But that then allows you to, you know, to get the income in maybe in one stream, and then build and grow, like we were talking earlier, another part of the business, or a different side of your business, in an organic way that doesn't feel forced and pushed and pressured, because we never, you know, when we're hitting those blocks, it just doesn't work, does it?
No, and you've raised some really valid points that we've talked about before. I mean, the fact you said you said about how, you know, when you were working, you were, you know, getting a certain amount of clients, and it's really hard when I have a lot of clients who've had full-time jobs for years and still did their therapies. One advantage of when you're in that position is that you've got the energy of security, and you treat it like a hobby, but it doesn't really matter if the money comes in. And what sometimes happens in that situation is people tend to attract more clients in those situations easier.
Yes.
Because they're coming from a more abundant, and they don't, as you said, they don't have to get the clients. But when you have to get the clients, there comes in the fear, the lack, right? And the pressure. And also it can be, you know, far easier sometimes, you know, there's the opposite of getting a few clients in, but when you have to make it a business, and it's no longer a hobby. And then you have to then sometimes even look at, because sometimes people charge a lot less when they have another income stream. And then they realize, oh my goodness, if I'm actually going to make a living at this, I actually need to change my charges. And then that can bring up all sorts of things. So there's lots of layers to that.
Yeah.
But what you said was really valuable about the different income streams. I have to hold my hand up and say there's been many times in my business where I've went and took other work, or done other things to get other income. It may be a time of the year. I remember it used to be when I worked mostly in clinics and I was teaching. I teaches holistic therapy, stress management and things. And always the summer for my business was always seemed to be a really quiet period. So I would do, because I've had certain challenges, it was hard to get certain types of work, but I would get something because I had lots of skills. And I would always just have that just to tide me over. And also it was actually nice because sometimes when you are relying completely on yourself for an income, it can feel like pressure when you know someone else is giving you that an income. And I used to enjoy doing that in summer because it actually meant I could step back from some others, and it was almost like a break. It was a different type of energy. And I always found that when I did that, I could come back with a different energy to my business. So I think and it's one of the reasons why I've always had an aspect of my business online just to do with my circumstances. But all of these experiences made me realize how important it is for having an online income stream. Now, sometimes I made mistakes. I let go of aspects of my business that now, years later, I wish I hadn't, because it could have made me a lot of money. Sometimes we make mistakes. But I think it's very valid, Caroline, at the moment. Also, what we've got to remember, I think, just even the energy at the moment, and we've talked about this, with a lot of people starting to awaken and having to face a lot of things, there's a lot of there has been obviously a lot of cognitive dissonance over the last 2 years, and apathy. But there's also this, that not just people that buy our products and services, but I notice even healers and coaches and therapists, some of them, they're starting to wake up to different things. So they're going through, some people are going through the dark night of the soul, some people are adjusting to things. And when we're adjusting and we're adjusting to all sorts of things that's going on in the collective, people can pull back. So they pull back from their businesses, they even pull back from getting help.
Yeah.
And I know at the moment, the last few weeks, particularly I've noticed a lot of business owners really talk about a feeling a kind of dip. And sometimes we've got to understand that that can be part of the collective. And you, as you said, we can change. And one of the things about our industry as well is we're constantly evolving. And sometimes people can make huge leaps where the type of audience or the way that they were working one week, they suddenly realise that, oh my goodness, no, this is really where I have to go. And there's a certain amount of flexibility has to come from that. So one of the advantages with Caroline, working with someone that understands that, Caroline, I found very easy to be, because, I'd go, I'm now beginning to feel that there's something, and I don't work logically as Caroline. I'm intuitive and more creative, and I go by my gut instinct. I always go with my gut instinct and my inner guidance. And I think that not every like VA can handle that. I got a lot of people who want me to plan. They'll say to me, right, well, no, we have to plan this for 3 months ahead or 6 months ahead. And I'm saying, no, that doesn't work when you work guided, spiritually guided. And, so it's good to.
And that's fine with, I can see how you work. And I think it takes a while to get to know clients, even if you've known them for a while. When you work with them, it's quite different. So I noticed quite quickly how you worked. And I think the fact that we can always talk, we can always share, and we're very honest is really key, because I think if you haven't got that level of communication, it could just go flat, and then it doesn't work.
Oh, definitely.
So the fact that you do, and you'll say, oh, I've had this download, I'm going to do this and this, and I can feel the energy and the excitement in you when you for example, the membership and the light workers toolkit, when that all came through, it was very quick, wasn't it? And it was all these things, and you literally almost did it overnight. I mean, it was phenomenal.
I know, and I think too is because probably there was so much as you say, I've got content coming out my ears, and there's so much tools that are there. It was just a way that I could see how it could all come to. Because one of the things that I'll share with the group is I am a natural creator, and I think because I was a trainer in a lot of things for so long, holistic well-being and that, a lot of things come very easy, and there's a lot of things that you forget that people sometimes are still at the basic level. I forget, because sometimes when I'm doing courses, I realise, no, I need to teach them more here, because they don't have the basic foundations. And with the light workers toolkit, it was an instant thing, and it made so much sense. I thought, I've got all this content, and one of the things that sometimes, if you have a lot of content and you've been going for a long time, and if you I tend to go where I'm guided to go, right? And sometimes you're left with all this content and you don't have the time to sell it all properly, right? Or because, sometimes it has to be refreshed, or the landing pages. And I moved a lot of things over for a new platform, which it was a lot of work. But with that, I was guided to put it all together, and you understood, and you also gave me, because I struggle when it comes to pricing points, and we had a discussion. There were some things she was a wee bit, come on, I think maybe. So sometimes I need to be you need to pull me in sometimes. And you did say to me, scale it down. I was trying to give everybody absolutely everything. And that's, we're all human, and I think it's really important for everybody as a spiritual business owner to know that we all do have our strengths and weaknesses, and and it's about recognizing that, as we've said. And Caroline, you and for any of you that are considering hiring a VA, no, I don't want you to completely take it away, because But obviously, Caroline at the moment has some availability. So, I'm going to look and see. I mean, I need to put my glasses on now to see, right, wait to see if there's any comments on the Facebook group. Wait to see.
Sometimes the comments don't come through, do they?
I don't know if I've to see. Sorry, guys, I think I'd actually knocked it off for some reason. I couldn't see. Oh, let's make a comment about the nail technician. What haven't you done? You need time to create the creative side. Oh, maybe she was Joy. I think Joy was struggling to maybe hear you, Caroline, because you maybe been quiet. See, I'm not loud when I'm on. So is there anyone get any questions? Which we just see, I'm just to see, because sometimes it's hard to see all the comments. To see. I can only see 4 comments. Let's see. So Caroline, is there anything that you would like, and we'll go back and see if there's any other comments, is there anything you would like to share us? Tell us any offers you've got or what your, what kind of packages or anything that you have.
So I don't have packages per se, but what I would say is that I offer, some VAs will only work for a certain amount of hours for a client.
Yep.
So I have a limit. I'm not like that. I'm very flexible. So I'll do 2 hours a week. I'll do 2 hours a month. I like to, if I'm aligned with that client and it works, I'm happy to offer whatever works with the client. I also am happy to do project work. So if you've got something like a document you want editing or proofreading, transcription I do as well. So I used to do meditation transcriptions for one of my clients, so I can sit and type those out. So if you've got a specific project that you want some support with, again, reach out. I can help out with that. That's something I can do. So I'm not one of these, I understand why some VAs do it, they want so many hours. But like I say, I've got that flexibility there. And I think if you've got that connection with someone and you can help them, it's working that way. I think that's more cooperative than kind of stifling, what you can offer. So so that's where we are really. And I've got some capability at the moment. So if anyone does want any support, reach out. We can have a conversation, no obligation. Have a chat and see what you're looking for and see whether I can help. And it's always useful to have a conversation just to see, where people are coming from, and where do you gel as well, because that, as we said, that's really important.
I was going to say, Caroline, what's the best or the better? What page are the better contacting you through?
So I've got VA page. I can drop it in the comments below. So
fantastic.
That's the best place to contact me on. So I can share that underneath the comments for the group after the chat today.
Fantastic. And I'm just going to check and see if I can see if there's anything else added, just in case can't see anything, Caroline. But it was fantastic to have you on. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, thank you for having me. And it's lovely to be here and to say hi to everyone, really, because sometimes we're just a face or a name, aren't we, in the group? And it's nice to
exactly
show who we are.
and just so you know, sometimes it's Caroline. It maybe look as if it's me it's wrote it, but it's actually Caroline it. So you know, I mean, sometimes do, and then sometimes Caroline's thinks like I do. We think that you're on and you think you've commented as yourself, and this is what happens when you're managing lots of pages. So thank you, Caroline, so much. And thank you for everyone that's joined in. Okay. And we have, I'm sure it's Fiona Kyle next week, isn't it? I think I'm sure it's Fiona Kyle. I'm really sorry. I haven't meant to check, but I'm sure it's Fiona Kyle next week. I will let you know. And I will be loading this up on YouTube. So as soon as it's up on YouTube, it will get posted also onto the Spiritual Marketing Club page. So thank you for listening, everyone. Have a great week, and thank you, Caroline.
Thank you, Eileen. See you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.